When my daughter was born, I was too tired to defend myself. The room smelled like antiseptic and warmed plastic. Machines hummed softly. My husband stood beside the bed holding our daughter, as if she were made of thin glass and light. I remember thinking how small her fingers were. How complete. My father arrived 30 minutes later. He didn't knock. He never had. He stood at the foot of a hospital bed, hands in his coat pockets, surveying the room as though it were a project site. His eyes moved from me to the baby to my husband. He leaned slightly toward the bassinet. "Well," he said, almost cheerfully, "at least this one might actually make something of herself." My husband's jaw tightened so fast I heard his teeth click. His hand flexed around the blanket. The old reflex rose in me first, the familiar urge to laugh it off. To say, "That's just how he jokes." To keep the peace. To prove I wasn't fragile. I had grown up in sentences like that, report cards with 1B circled in red. "You're capable of more." College acceptance. Not the top school, but it'll do. Promotion, let's hope you can handle it. Nothing cruel enough to confront. Just constant enough to internalize. For years. He framed it as motivation. I framed it as love. My husband had never framed it at all. He called it what it was. In that hospital room, though, something shifted. It wasn't the insult. It was that he aimed it past me, toward my daughter. Toward someone who hadn't even opened her eyes yet. I smiled. Not brightly. Just enough to smooth the air. "Check your bank account, Dad," I said quietly. He frowned, mildly annoyed at the deflection. His phone buzzed almost on cue. He pulled it out, expecting, I assume, a work notification. He read the screen once, then again. He didn't speak for a long time. 3 weeks earlier, I had finalized something I should have done years ago. When I was 24, my father had helped me buy my first apartment by offering a loan for the down payment. It came with no written terms, just a constant reminder of generosity. At family dinners he would reference it casually. If I hadn't stepped in. Always phrased as hypothetical but delivered as hierarchy. Later, when I started my consulting firm, he insisted on backing a portion of the startup capital. Again, unofficial again. Narrated publicly as evidence that he believed in me. What he believed in was position. The money was never about support. It was about permanent authorship of my success. I had repaid him in pieces over the years, but never in full. There was always no rush, which somehow translated into never forget. During my third term, I requested a complete accounting. Principal, interest. Adjusted for inflation. He laughed when I asked for the numbers. "Planning something dramatic?" "Just organizing," I said. I refinanced the apartment. Liquidated a small investment portfolio. It cost more than I was comfortable with. It left less of a cushion than my husband preferred. But the morning I went into labor, the transfer was already scheduled. In the hospital room, the notification he was staring at showed every cent returned, with calculated interest. Alongside it was a formal letter from my attorney, releasing me from the family business guarantee. He'd added my name to years prior, for experience. No emotional language. No commentary. Just confirmation that all financial ties were resolved. "I don't understand," he said finally. "You don't have to," I replied. "It's done." My husband didn't say a word. He just watched. The power in the room didn't explode, it deflated. For the first time in my life, my father had nothing invested in me. Not a dollar. Knowledge disguised as love. He cleared his throat. Looked again at the baby. "She's healthy?" he asked. "Yes, that's good," he said. He left 10 minutes later. There was no apology. That would have required a language he doesn't speak. But something did change. The advice became suggestions. The critiques became silence. At holidays, he asked questions instead of offering corrections. When he referenced my business, it was with a tone that sounded almost neutral. He never mentioned the transfer. And he never spoke to me that way again. I won't pretend it fixed everything. There are still pauses in our conversations, where something old hovers unsaid. Sometimes I miss the illusion that his approval was just one achievement away. Independence is quieter than approval. It doesn't clap. But when I hold my daughter now, I know something ended in that hospital room. Not our relationship. Just the contract beneath it. She will grow up hearing praise that isn't edged with warning. She will make mistakes without them being treated as proof of inadequacy. If she ever asks for help, it won't come with a ledger. My father still visits. He brings practical gifts. He stands a little farther from the bed, and when he looks at my daughter, he chooses his words carefully. Not because he softened, because the balance changed.